So good morning, alle Yiddische Kinder. Good morning. This is now Maimer class. Now that with Hashem's help we completed Kuf Yates, and I said it yesterday and I'll say it again today, I'm stuck on Ta'isi Kiseh Eved Bakesh Avdecha Ki Mitzvesecha Lo Shochochti. I sort of can't get past it. So that we did on Thursday last. Yesterday we did the beginning of this Maimer, Shoresh Mitzvas Hatefilla perek. Today we're going to continue the Maimer, Shoresh Mitzvas Hatefilla perek. Now yesterday we learned very little actually. Excuse me one second. Excuse me. All we learned yesterday was the first page. But you made sure you knew what the Maimer is about, because I repeated it like 10 times, right? And what is the Maimer about? The Maimer is about avoid of Keser, right? There's an avoid of Hishtalshlus and there's an avoid of Keser. That's what this Maimer is about. Now, I just want to say something tentative. I'm hoping, I'm not promising, but I'm hoping to start a class in Vayat the Tzave in preparation for Gimel Tammuz. If I do, it'll be late. It'll be like 10 o'clock at night. It'll be available at this venue. It'll be available on Facebook. It'll be available on my website live. It'll be available on YouTube. Of course, IYH Im Yitzhak Hashem. And I'm hoping that it'll also be on Zoom. If it'll be on Zoom, I will advertise it in where we advertise our stuff on the Facebook page and the WhatsApp group and so on. But it's tentative. It's not yet sure. I'd like to do it. It's a little bit in doubt. So yesterday we learned that this Maimer is about the avodah of Keser, which is the avodah of Hishtalshelus. So now the Rebbe goes into a whole ariches. I want you to know that he articulates the avodah of Keser beginning on page Kuf Samach Aleph, which is Sif Daled. And it's such an exciting shtickle. It really is an exciting learn. So we're going to start, okay? I'm not going to waste your time. I just have this nagging need to say that what the Rebbe is going to demonstrate in today's class, he's going to demonstrate it twice. In Perek Kimmel, he's going to demonstrate it by Nisan, Iyar, and Sivan. In Perek Beis, he's going to demonstrate it by the model of Nisan, Iyar, and Sivan. In Perek Gimel, he's going to demonstrate it by the model of Meidani and Shmoneh. Those are the flanks, those are the extremes, and the rest of the davening in the middle. And he's going to argue this idea, if you will, of Noach, Chilos, and B'Seifon. There's a special connection between the very beginning and the very end. And what the very beginning and the very end are going to share is this avodah of Keser, around which this Maimer revolves. So let's go. We have to explain the avodah of Keser, which gave Yidden the schar, which was the Inyan HaKeser, and we also explained what's the madrega of Keser. Keser means save of a makif, it's around, it's above Gilui. And as I showed you inside from page Kuf Samach Beis, that Keser has 2 criteria. Number 1, it's such a powerful light that because it's so strong from us, it's hidden. And number 2, it doesn't have to go any place because it's B'kol Makom B'Shav, it's already everywhere, so to speak. Those are the Kudus of Keser. And of course, he also connected it to the word shesika, silence. Let's preface first, the general idea of the Exodus and receiving the Torah. Now, I'm going to say this right now. Between Yitzias Mitzrayim and Matan Torah, there's Sfiras HaOmer. So Sfiras HaOmer becomes the middle, becomes the Hishtalshelus Avodah, and Yitzias Mitzrayim and Matan Torah become the flanks. Shem Tchilas HaAvodah, Yitzias Mitzrayim is the very beginning, first step in Avodah. And Matan Torah, Save V'Tachas, but it's the final step. And the Rebbe says right away, there's a relatedness between the first step and the last step. As the Pasuk says, when you will take these people out of Egypt. Tavnas of Lakim al worship Hashem on this mountain. Even though intermittently, between the first step and the last step, there's 49 middle steps. The Pasuk seems to join the very beginning and the very end because there's a unique connection between the very beginning and the very end. Says the Rebbe Hainu, what this means is the following. Shitiyas Mitzrayim Aschalos Aveda, the exodus of Egypt, which is the very first step in Aveda. Hiachon Alamatan Teda prepares the event of the giving of the Teda, which is Sefer Tachas Aveda, which is the ultimate step in Aveda. Even though in between there may be intermittent steps, but somehow there's like a sort of a Noz Chilas and Beseifon. Pardon me. Excuse me. A unique and a special connection between the beginning and the end. Zog the Heilige Rebbe, allow me to explain myself. Zog the Heilige Rebbe, in the Exodus from Egypt, there's 3 types of service, which are represented, which are represented by the month of Nisan, the month of Iyar, and the month of Sivan. Now, when you read this superficially, it sounds like there's 1, 2, 3. But it's not 1, 2, 3. It's first, last, and everything in between. In other words, you have to understand Yetzias Mitzrayim as an akuda, as a point. And you have to understand Matan Torah also as an akuda, as a point. And you have to understand Sfiras HaEmet as a series of steps. That's the way it plays out. That's the way I understand it, at least. And the Rebbe begins with Inyan Adiyuk, which I believe it says in Sfarim. I believe the Rebbe is not making this up. I think it says in Sfarim, but I don't remember where. There are 12 months in the year. And of course, as you know, the Shemes HaChadoshim Oloi Mo Mibol, right? We don't, in Tanakh, when you, except for the Megillas Esther and books like that, when you refer to the month, you call them first month, second month, third month, Chedesh Rishon, Chedesh Hasheni, Chedesh Hashlishi. But there are 12 months, right? There's Chedesh Hasiri, there's Chedesh HaChadesrei, there's Chedesh Hashvi, Haravi, Hachamishi. And the Rebbe is going to prove that only by Rishon, Sheni, and Shlishi do we say Liyetzias Mitzrayim. Even though the first month, as we know, the Chazal say when the Eibusha created the world, he made Rosh Hashanah, which is Aleph Tishrei. And then Mishabacha B'Yankev Uvonov, he created the Reish Chedesh Al Giyula, which is Nisan. It's a famous Targum Yenus Ben Nazil, which is brought in all the Maimarim, that originally Chedesh HaRishon was Tishrei, and now Chedesh HaRishon is Nisan, and Chedesh HaShvi is Tishrei. So it's B'Chedesh HaRishon, let's say it's B'nei Yisrael Me'atzam. The whole idea of Nisan being the first month, as opposed to Tishrei being the first month, is about Yetzias Mitzrayim. Nevertheless, even though the whole notion of the biblical calendar, which counts from Nisan to Nisan, Nisan being the first month and other being the last month, like it is in the Megillah Esther as well, is all because of Yetzias Mitzrayim. We only find a reference to Yetzias Mitzrayim directly by the first 3. In other words, by the 4th month, we call it the 4th month, and it's understood that it means the 4th month to the Bocha B'Yankev Uvonov, and the same is for the 5th month, and the 7th month, and the 10th month, and so on. But there's no direct allusions, no direct connection in the wording of the Tanakh and the wording of the Chumash that links the Chadashim to Yetzias Mitzrayim, except for the first 3. And therefore the Rebbe is going to argue the first 3 months have a special connection to the Inyan of Yetzias Mitzrayim. And the Exodus are 3 ways of serving Hashem. Shehem, which are represented by Bechad, Shein Nisan, the month of Nisan, Iyar, and Siv. Why? Shabahem Niskara in Yetzias Mitzrayim. If you're following my text that I put up yesterday in the PDF, I put this in a box, in a rectangular box, a double box. Because only in these 3 months is there a direct reference that links these months to the Exodus. Chedesh Nisan, like it says, B'Chedesh Ha'aviv Ki Be'yetzasam Mitzrayim. Chedesh, like it says, Be'echad L'Chedesh Ha'Sheni B'Shana Ha'Sheni, as it says, B'nei Yisrael Meretz Mitzrayim. Although the simple reading of this pasuk is when he mentions the Exodus, he's not talking about months. He's talking about years. Because anytime you mention months and years together, and you're not talking about the first year, obviously, because then you wouldn't mention years. So the dominant component is the year, and the secondary component is the month or the day, as is self-understood. Nevertheless, in Kol Makom Isa Bezer, the Zayah says that when it says L'Chedesh Hasheni, B'Shana Hasheni is Kulachad, that the second year and the second month are both connected, and therefore we have a biblical allusion, a biblical link. Nimtza Shalateis Me'eretz Mitzrayim Kol Gam L'Chedesh Hasheni Chedesh Hasheni. So according to the Zayah, the pasuk is saying that L'Teis B'nei Yisrael Me'eretz Mitzrayim is not only counting years, it's counting months. So by the second month, we find an allusion. Again, you don't have it directly from the Chumash. You have it from the Chumash with the help of Zayar, and Chedesh Iyar. The second month is directly related, let's say, B'nai Yisrael Mitzrayim. And then he continues, V'chedesh Tiven, K'mei Shekasa B'chedesh Hashlishi, Yisrael B'nai Yisrael Mitzrayim. So Vaita, an explicit pasuk that links 70 Yetzias Mitzrayim. Hainu. That Av Shen Nisan is Rishon L'chol Chodshei Hashana. Even though Nisan is the first month. And it's the first month only from Yetzias Mitzrayim, because before then it was the 7th month. Umimenu Nimnim Kol HaChadosh. And all 12 months follow this. So if Nisan is the first month, and Nisan's being the first has to do with Yetzias Mitzrayim, either all 12 of Shachas Yetzias Mitzrayim, or none of them of Shachas Yetzias Mitzrayim, except for the first. Says the Rebbe, Chedesh HaRevi, Chedesh HaShvi, Rivi, Vishvi, Nisan. Nevertheless, I'm assuming Revi means Tammuz Shavasa, but Tammuz and Shvi means Tishrei, which is Tzem Gedalia or Tishrei. You do not find in the Tanakh, in the scripture, references of the 4th month and the 5th month and the 7th month and the 10th month and so on to Yetzias Mitzrayim. Only by these 3 months. Why? Lefi, the teretz is, because these 3 months, the 3 ways of serving Hashem, associated with Yetzias Mitzrayim. It starts with Yetzias Mitzrayim, it continues with Iyar, which will be soon shown to be Sfiras HaOmer, and it culminates with Shleimus says B'Matan Torah. So the Rebbe established an argument based on scriptural allusions that Chedesh HaRishon and Chedesh HaSheni and Chedesh HaSheni Chedesh HaShlishi more than any other month is connected to the Yetzias Mitzrayim and Matan Torah. Now let's break it down. Eifen ha'alef b'havei, the Yetzias Mitzrayim, the first way to serve Hashem as is linked to the idea of the Exodus, is Meshikah. So he says in Pasuk, and of course we know this Pasuk from Tanya, Peirik lamed aleph kibor ha'om, that the nation had to run away. Taichas the Rebbe, the Kivan Yisrael hayu oz. Whereas the Jewish people then were Meshikahim b'mem tat sharitu, but they were immersed in 49 spiritual gates of spiritual uncleanness. More, B'ra goma megimel klibet meis rachman alatzana was the most severe evil. Hine, say that Aveda b'matzav kazeh, when you find yourself in Mitzrayim, and you're in Memtet Shari Tuma, and you're involved in Gimel Klippas Atmeis V'Rois Lagamri, the only way to change that is to be obnoxious, to be stubborn. Eine b'derech is hapcha. It's not transforming. It's not sophisticated. It's not enlightened. It's not cultured. It's not beautiful. It's hard and tough. What would be his hapcha shabodem shachas amechelemi? This is hapcha, which means transforming or transformative. Is you use your mind to change how you feel about the condition you're in. Now I want you to know, I wrote on the margin here, I don't know how much of it came out on your page, that in other Maimorim, is hapcha is linked to Yechida. Here is hapcha is linked to Mechanemidas, and it's not really a contradiction. Every Maimon has its style. But as hapcha in this Maimon is an avodah pnimis. As hapcha means an internal transforming, using my mind to arouse my heart. In other words, I'm using a part of my consciousness to transform a different part of my consciousness. That's the idea of his hapcha. So as hapcha would be therapy. Hapcha would be avodah pnimis. I use my mind to learn and understand, to develop feelings in the direction of Hashem, that I want that they should be pure and clear and strong and wholesome. That would be his hapcha. When you're walking out of Egypt, and you're still in Egypt, and you're stuck in Memtet Shari Tuman and Gimel Klipas Atmeis Lagamri, you don't do fine-tuned work, you don't do nuanced work, you don't do an analysis, you do a tough, hard, black and white exercise. Since one is immersed in evil and ishayach, one is not at all associated, related. His bonding is to consider intellectually what the Eibush is. The Av Sheni Mahapech Medesav. And even though he's not transforming his emotions, he remains as he was in his earlier condition. There is in a condition of Ram, he still had verter. Koifes atzma, he bends himself, he forces himself. In his thought, speech, and deed. In a category which is called escaping evil, which is the service of the month of Nisan. So in a nutshell, what is Nisan or what is Yetzias Mitzrayim? You're running away. And running away is not sophisticated, it's not an analysis, it's not a transformation, it's an escape. And if you're familiar with Tanya, chapter 31, where Dr. Rebbe brings this, you learn that when the Yidden were running away, they were actually running away from themselves. They were escaping their own identity because they were not ready for Yetzias Mitzrayim. They were who knows where. They were in a very, very compromised condition and position. They simply ignored their muhus, their substance, their identity, their place, their level, and they ran away. So this is called iskafia. Iskafia means I'm forcing myself from a position that identifies with me to a position which does not identify with me at all by force, by escape. Then the Rebbe continues, and now he describes his habcha. The second service, the Veda of the month of Iyar, she Aveda the Sfiras Ha'emet, which was the service of Sfiras Ha'emet. Says the Heilige Rebbe Shein Yono, what is Sfiras Ha'emet? This is much more sophisticated and much more nuanced. It's Birur V'zicha Chamidus, the clarity and refining of the emotions. And this is not one moment, like Yetzias Mitzrayim, the escape is one day. This is 49 days, or 50 days, as it were. That year was an extra day. Matan Torah was on the 50th day, it was on the 51st day. As you know, they left Mitzrayim on Thursday, they got the Torah on Shabbos, which means that 2 days past 7 weeks, even though we have only 1 day. The Rebbe talks about it in one of the hardest in the Likkutei Sichos. So this is sophisticated. You're working on your character. Working on the character means you're paying attention to who you are. And you're trying to refine it step by step, detail by detail, aspect by aspect, which is the antithesis of the hard disregarding of self, of iskafia, which is associated with Yetzias Mitzrayim. We have to count. And of course, there's many Hebrew words for counting. The chosen word in this context is Sfiros. So it says in Chassidus, Lashon Sfiros, so Behilus, that every day has to be made to shine and to be made clear. Right, like it says in the Ayem Yemaz Dichsinim from the Alten Rebbe von Alamol Tzelen, and their Wörter, dem Taten, sehr gefallen gefunden. The Rabbeim liked the idea of always counting. Because counting does not only numbers, it's clarity. This is called transformation. But transformation in such a way where you take the character and you change it. Not you overwhelm the character, not you suppress and deny the character, you change the character. Says the Rebbe, you use your mind. The mind is cold and objective and can understand the truth no matter where the person is. The brain is able to understand emes. The brain is able to understand bittul. The brain is able to understand godliness, whatever preparation or lack thereof he has. And he's therefore in a position to inspire the heart to feel the same. The heart is much more sensitive. And when the heart feels unrefined, the whole person knows that the heart is unrefined. The mind can educate the heart to become refined. This is the work of being transformed. To bring the mind into the heart. It brings clarity, refinement, and upliftedness as I made this to the human emotions. And the Rebbe says, this service is called transformation. And as I said before, this apneumistic transformation, one who's actually changing his character through deliberate and direct and precise and detailed effort. Says the Rebbe, it follows Yetzias Mitzrayim Kibaracham, the first step, which is the escape step, which is an infant iskafia. When a person starts his service, one is not at all associated with the possibility for contemplation, an internal character transformation, because he finds himself immersed in evil. And therefore the first step is break out, run away. Once that initial step is done of breaking out and running away, the person has acknowledged, at least to himself, that he hates evil. He wants nothing to do with evil. He's run away from it. The person is establishing himself on a level where ta'avedas he has no connection. He's only exposed, vulnerable to things that are permitted and allowed. Then the person is in a position to transform his midas to moich, which is a much more pneumistic avoid. And this is step 2. Now, if you're going to give me a minute, I'm going to go get myself a cup of coffee. I'm going to turn off the recording. I'll turn off the class. No reason to keep it running. I'll be back in about